Alright, this is a tutorial. I'm determined to do this in one take, so I apologize for all the mistakes. This is a Call of Duty tutorial, or actually it's a Blender tutorial to get items out of Blender and into the Call of Duty engine. I'm using Call of Duty 5 World at War. What I'm going to do also is I'm going to show you the easiest way to do this, or an easy kind of way to show something really cool really quickly, and that's by using 123D Catch. All you have to do is send off a bunch of photographs, and this thing will build a 3D object for you. We're going to rotate around this object. This is something right outside my front door. It's a fire hydrant, obviously. I just went around it. Each little symbol of a camera is the photograph that I took. I've stood in all those places, walked around it, and took some pictures. Send it off to 3D Catch, and it gives you this cool little 3D model. Now you can clean this up in two different ways. You can clean it up in Blender, obviously, or you can clean it up here. Both ways are fine. I'm going to clean it up a little bit here. You just select the stuff you want to get rid of, hit delete. It's going to warn you that you can't send it back off and have edits. That's fine. We're just going to keep going here. Kind of get rid of as much of this as we can. We'll do a quickie, so it's, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this. This is obviously what you do here. Alright, so let's take this object, which looks pretty good right now. I don't see any stray polygons out there in the distance. This process is pretty forgiving. It doesn't have to be watertight. So I'm just going to export this as an OBJ. What this is doing. So export scene as, and do this as an OBJ. Let's get myself into the work folder. Come on, baby. Get in there. 3D Catch. I made a trash can earlier that worked pretty good. This is going to be fire hydrant. Fire H. Save it as the OBJ. You can close this program now. No, I don't want to save it. I don't really care about that thing. We're going to open up Blender. We're going to import that fire hydrant. Just going to rotate it until it gets in there. Almost had it. There we go. 3. It's obviously, this isn't a tutorial for somebody who doesn't know Blender. This is, you need to know a little bit how to get around. Go into texture mode. The easiest way to see this thing well is to select the mesh, get into your shader, and turn it to shadeless. Shader. Shadeless. And then there's a couple shaders in here, actually. Oh, I made the wrong thing shadeless. It's fine. Bam, bam. Shadeless, shadeless, shadeless. So now you can see this thing. Alright. So obviously this thing is like 10 gazillion polygons. You're not going to want this in your game. So what we want to do is save one version that is what we have here. If you wanted to, put it down on the ground or whatever you wanted to do here, that's fine. But you need to keep them in the same place if at all possible. So I'm going to save this one in this place, and then I'm going to decimate the new one in the same spot. That way I can bring it back in and bake it on. So let's save this guy. Save as. Catch is fine. I think I've got my trash cans in there, obviously. So let's make a new one. That's fire hydrant. Fire hydrant. I don't even know if you spell it like that, but that's fine. Let's call this 01, or let's call this what, high poly. High, save Blender file. Now, we're going to take this guy. Once we start decimating, these textures are going to go away anyway. So we're going to save this again. Save as. Instead of high, we're going to call this one low. Right? So we'll link in the other one too in order to do the baking part. So alright, let's grab decimate in your modifiers. Right? Decimate. We want to get this thing way down to like, you know, 0.1. Now we're at 86, obviously 8,000 polygons, so we're still not even close. We're going to go 0.025. Gosh, you cannot see this thing in this mode. Oh, I know why. Because when I selected the let's pull over here. When I selected the shader and set the untextured to shadeless, that's why we can't see anything. Yeah. Let's grab this lamp. Gosh, what a cluster of a freaking tutorial this is. So now at least we can see what's going on. So how many polys do we have right now? Let's deselect that, select this, go back to my modifier, look at decimate, realize this is 2100 polygons. It's still too high. We're going to have to get rid of this stuff because that's just doesn't look right. But let's knock this back. Come on, baby. 0.015. Is that what I had it at? I guess so. Oh, wow. I think it was 0.1. So let's try 0.1 again. See where we're at. 0.1 is way too many. It's 8,000 polys. So 0.05 would be 4,000. Obviously, 0.02 would be 2,000. So I guess we do need to be at like 0.015. That'll put us at what, 1,200 polygons. So that's about where I want to be. About 1,200 polygons is doable. You could also in here start selecting this ground and getting rid of that stuff. But we're not going to go into this is already taken way too long to explain. So also what I would do is cut off sections like this and repatch these areas along with anything like this that sticks out, all this junk. What I did on the trash can when it got into these little areas is just grab all these polys, delete them, and reface them. Just, you know, you grab three vertices and hit F to create a polygon, F for face. So it's pretty easy to clean this stuff up. So we're going to stop here. We're going to apply this. So this is our low res version. We need to map or bake the textures from the high res onto the low res. We're going to get rid of these the shaders that are there because we don't need them. Also, there's nothing in there now, so we'll need to create a new one. I don't want to do it on untextured. I'm going to get rid of untextured too. I don't even know why that's there. Let's create a new one. Now the name of this material is important because when you get into Radiant, it's going to look for this name, and I'll show you that in a second. In Asset Manager, it's going to look for that name. Let's pull this thing out. So we're going to call this fire _h _matte for material. Alright, so let's blink in, file, link. This is basically like adding something to the scene. You guys shouldn't, if you're watching this tutorial, you know you know how to use Blender. So we're going to look for that fire hydrant high, right? Go to the object itself, the mesh, link that guy in. It should load right on top of this one, right? So because I can't select anything here, I'm going to have to go up into my little asset management thing here. And there's the one linked in. I know because it has that little white thing. If you want to, you can rename these guys to make it a little bit easier. Click that, and click underscore, and just make low. So you want to select your big mesh, shift select your low end mesh, and I think that's it. You want to tab into this, and then we should be able to select everything. Make sure this material is assigned, hit assign, and then we should be able to bake this right in. Let's look at it first. Give myself another screen, image. Let's make a new one at, we'll make this a big map so it'll look really nice. 2048 by 2048. 2048. We do not need an alpha on this, and we're going to call this Fire H texture. I don't know. It's fine. Okay. Okay, so we need to, obviously this UV is not going to work. This is just poly on poly on top of each other. So we already have this thing selected. Matter of fact, we need to probably deselect the other one. So let's hit A, deselect everything, only select the low mesh. Hit A for all. Go into mesh, UV unwrap, do a smart UV unwrap. Okay. Bam, we got nice UVs now. Okay. Hit A. No, I don't need to hit A. Let's tab out of this thing for a second. Hit A. Go back and do the same process. Select the big mesh, shift select the little mesh. I want to tab into the little mesh because I want to be able to see this, what's going to be baked in. Get into the little camera, world camera mode, whatever that is. Go down here to bake. Bam. We don't want a full render, we just want the textures. What else? What else? We want to get rid of this light. I don't think we want to bake. We want to make sure this light is turned off. Select the light. No diffuse, no specular. Go back to that little camera. And because he's shadeless, this should work. It should work perfectly. So he's textured, selected to active. Let's click the A button again. I do still have all this selected, right? Is that right? Are you selected, baby? Yeah, I think so. Okay, let's try it. Why am I not seeing my UV in here now? Weird. I think I selected that lamp. I did. Let's get add a tab. Let's go through the same process again. Big mesh, shift, little mesh, tab into that little mesh. Everything's selected. Everything's selected. Now it looks right. Okay. So let's hit bake. Bam. And it looks right. All right. That's exactly what I wanted. So you need to save this image, obviously. At this point, you can get rid of the big mesh, the high mesh. Hit tab out of this thing. Only select the big mesh. Hit X. Say delete. Yes, delete that guy. This thing needs to be smoothed, obviously. So let's selecting. Hit smooth. We can push this thing away a little bit, but we will need to get into this image area. That's looking pretty good. So you can also do the same thing in here. Make this shadeless so you can see it well. Right? Bam. Oh, here we go. See. Save image as. You want to save this as a TGA. We're going to place this where I have Call of Duty, which is under Games, World at War, export, model exports. So let's make a new folder for this. Create a new folder. Fire Hydrant. Pretty sure I'm spelling that wrong. Fire Hydrant TGA, save. Also, we need to export this model into the same folder. I did install a plugin to export. You can find it online. It will export to Call of Duty. So file, export, export. Call of Duty X model export. I want to put that in the same spot as we did the fire hydrant, not 3D catch. I've actually got a shortcut right here. I should have used that earlier. Bam. Alright, export. It's going to be called fire hydrant low. Export. Okay, so you don't need this anymore. Now we're going to go into asset management. One of the things that's important is the name of the shader that's being used. So there's your fire hydrant. Underneath is your shader. You need to understand this name, fire_h_mat. That's what I'm going to use in Asset Manager to create the material. So launcher, light, you got to run this as administrator. Yes. You want to run Asset Management. Asset Manager. Alright, let's shrink this down so you can see what I'm doing. Alright, we're gonna load. Usually you make your own GDT file. You can save this blank thing if you want to, but I've already made one, so I'm gonna open that one. That is not in model export, I don't think. Oh yeah, it is. Okay. Just my test GDT file. Open that guy up. I've already made a few materials, but this can be blank, it doesn't matter. We're going to do a new entry. We're going to call this guy, again, this is the important part, fire_h_mat. It's got to be named this because that's what the X model is going to be looking for. Hit OK. This is a big list of stuff, but if you go through it, it's not really that difficult. I'm going to set this so we can search for it in tools if we need to. But otherwise, all you really need to do is add your color map, which is your texture that we made. Again, that's going to be in your model export under the fire hydrant. That image right there. Bam. And that's really all you need for this. If you want it to be some kind of surface type like fire hydrant, I don't know what you would use, metal or something, I guess. What I'm looking for here, metal. There we go. Save that part. Within the same thing, you're going to want an X model. So you want this to be in materials. You want X model to be in X model. Add a new entry. We'll just call this fire hydrant model. Doesn't matter what that name is. It's just going to import your what you exported from Blender. Hit this guy. There's your export. Hit open. So everything's in the right place. Everything's named correctly. You should be able to convert these two and then be able to see them. Let's go back to material. I'm just going to save it just to be safe. Just go PC convert. You should see some text. If it only says conversion done, hit any key to continue, then it did not convert. I know that doesn't make any sense, but it should have some text. And then you'll want to go to the X model. Same thing, fire hydrant model, PC, convert the asset. It'll probably take a little bit longer than this because I've already converted it and it knows that I've already converted. So this is done. You can save this guy, you can exit it, or we'll just minimize it just in case I need to go back to it. I can now place this object. I've made my own test directory in Radiant, or not directory, but level. Open this guy up in Radiant. Oop, I'll have to resize Radiant here so you can see what's going on. We'll just stick this, it doesn't really matter. We'll stick it on both sides so you can see what it looks like in the sun and in the shade. That's kind of what my test is here. Miscellaneous model. Now you should be able to find, just by typing in here, fire hydrant, Fire hydrant model. Okay. Oh, I spelled it wrong with FIR. That's fine. At least I found it. Open that guy up. There it is. It's probably going to be a little small. Let's look over here in the in this window. Yeah, it's okay. Let's get it on the ground. Drag this guy down here. It's a little bit small, I think. So you can fix that by using scale model, model scale. You can make it twice as big as it is now, right? That's good. For now, that's good. We'll just leave it at that. Don't need this anymore. Let's save our... See, actually, let's copy that over to the other side so we can see it in the sun and in the shade. So let me just bring it maybe over here. Hit the space bar, copy it, bring it over here into the shade. If you want, you can move these guys, have a couple of them, just to kind of see them other places in the world. And maybe rotate this one around to the other side just to see what the other side looks like. Select this guy, rotate him around the other side. Okay, that's good enough. That's good enough. Let's save that guy. Save all this. Save. Right. We shouldn't need Radiant anymore, but we'll just minimize it. Now we want to run this, or compile it rather. So we only need to compile lights. I've already compiled reflections and such, so let's hit this. This shouldn't take long. It's going to run it. I've already selected it to run right after the compile, so so it loads up Call of Duty 5, loads up the new test map, auto assign here, just doesn't really matter what you pick. Wait this thing out. I don't know why this makes you wait, but so there is our new low poly. What did it end up being? 12 or 1500 polygons. That's not really low, but you can. This is more about the process than the. Oh, it kind of blends into the sand there too. You'd want to clean up all this extra sidewalk area. But that's what it looks like in sunlight. This one's rotated around just because sometimes, like on these trash cans, you'll get an ambient bright side, you'll get an ambient dark side. The idea is to put the ambient dark side against something to make it look like it's occluding light. So let's look at it on the shadow side. Looks pretty good. And that's it. That's the easy way to get something out of Blender into Radiant, into the Call of Duty engine. Again, the process is probably not that much different to do it into UDK or any other major engine, but Radiant it's got a very active community right now. So, alright, that's it. Hope you liked it. Let's exit out of here and say goodbye.